Hello guys, it's Janki and welcome back to another video. So in today's video we'll chat about the books that I didn't love but you might. So as a clarification, these books are not the books that I hated. They aren't the books that I gave 2 or 1 stars. They are just the books that I did not enjoy as much as I hoped to enjoy them. And so I feel there's 90% chance that the other people might like some of these books. So this video, I should say, is a unusual kind of book recommendations because I haven't had a video suggesting you all books, and this would be my first book recommendation video and starting off with an unusual video. So let's get into the first book. So the first book I have to talk about is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. So Guest List is a mystery thriller. We follow this wedding located in a far off distant island. We have our charming bridegroom, a successful bride, we have bridesmaid plus one best man and the wedding planner. They are the primary characters. The wedding is absolutely perfectly planned, but then we have our guests arriving, and as you all know, people aren't normal. We have our bridesmaid who seems very distant from the festivities of the wedding going around her. Then we have our best man who seems a little eccentric, little different. Then we have our bride's best friend, male best friend, who seems unusually close to the bride. All these guests have something to hide and they don't really act normally in this wedding setting. And then, as it turns out, on the day of the wedding, a person turns up dead. And then, rest is the mystery. So, I personally didn't like this book as much because I could see what the author was trying to do throughout the book, but that didn't perfectly happen. So, it was a miss for me, but I have seen many people loving this book. It also was nominated and it even won the Goodreads Choice Award for Mystery Thriller 2020. So I think most people will like it. Let's get into the next book, Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. So this is a contemporary fiction wherein we primarily follow our main character Eliza. Eliza in real life is this shy, timid, rarely having friends kind of a girl. But she's also this anonymous creator of this highly loved and very popular webcomic called Monstrous Sea. She goes by the name of Lady Constellation whenever online, but she has no desire to reveal her identity anytime soon. She prefers her web presence more than her real presence in life. But then she meets this guy called Wallace, and they go on to become friends. But little did she know that Wallace is the biggest fanfiction writer of the webcomic she has created. And although Eliza is aware of this fact, but Wallace doesn't know that she is the creator of that webcomic. But later, accidentally, when her identity is revealed, everything falls apart. Eliza breaks down and her relationship with Wallace is also disturbed, and then the story goes on. Since this book is a contemporary, it is bound to have something very realistic, very relative to people, young people mostly, and that sure comes true when we see Eliza as a character. She has this great web presence, but when it comes to real life, she doesn't feel herself to her fullest as she does when she is online. And I think people would like this book because they can connect with the main character, and I think mostly introverts would relate better. Third book that we have to talk about is Throne of Glass, a very popular book on any book platform. So it is a young adult fantasy following our main character Selena Sardothian, who worked in this salt mine for about a year, and then she is summoned by the crown prince of the empire she is living in, and the crown prince strikes a deal with her, and the deal is that she has to be the crown prince's champion in this competition, which is to decide the new royal assassin of the empire. And for that, the crown prince offers her freedom after 4 years of service. So she is to participate in this competition wherein people, mostly men, not mostly men, all men from different parts of empire are coming to compete for the position of the royal assassin. He is an assassin and she is a well-reputed assassin. And so yes, for the competition, men come from all around the empire and they are mostly thieves, thugs, criminals themselves. But then after a few rounds of elimination in the competition, there comes a little twist. These participants start getting murdered and people have no clue, no idea who is behind these murders. And now Selena Sardothian is headbound to find this killer, because if she doesn't, she thinks that she might be the next target of this killer. And yes, the story goes on from there. So I succumbed to the hype that surrounded this book and picked this book up. The premise sounded so intriguing. I was very excited to see this one girl among all the men competitors. And at the moment that I read that book, the moment I finished this book, I was so impressed by this book. But now that I recollect, I don't see anything really fantastic going on. And so I decided that I didn't love this book as much, but I think majority of people will love this book. And this is the typical, the prototype of YA books that are available in the market. So, and yes, this is, I guess, a 6 to 7 book long series. This, it is for you, Throne of Glass. And it is also a good start for people beginning to read fantasy or the people who want to get into fantasy. The next book I have for you all is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So as the title suggests, it is a circus-based fantasy book. We primarily follow this competition going on within the circus between these two magicians named Celia and Marco. They both were from their childhood trained for this particular competition only. But the hit here is that this competition cannot end until one of the magicians die. But as this book has it, fate has something else decided for these two characters, and you can guess what? Star-crossed lovers. The only thing you need to know here is it is absolutely based on this circus setting. We have a lot of circus theme going on, but the writing in this book is very whimsical, very flowery. And if you're not a person who would like that kind of writing, I would suggest you wouldn't like it like me. But then this book also has a large fan base and I think you will also like it. The next book I have with me is All the Light You Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. This is a World War II based historical fiction. We follow a French girl named Marie Leblanc. She is sightless and lives with her father. On the other hand, we follow this boy named Werner, German boy, and he lives a poor life in the orphanage there. But other than the two lives that we follow in this book, we also follow about this gem called Sea of Flames, which is historically said to give the possessor the power, no, the protection from death. So whosoever possesses that gem is immortal. No, but yes, we just follow that. That's a part of this book. I can't pinpoint the reason why I didn't like this book, but it was just that as soon as I completed this book, there was this feeling that why did I waste my time? This book is highly loved among people. I wouldn't recommend it, but since this is a recommendation wherein I recommend you the books which I didn't like but I think you might, so I'll recommend this book to you. The next book that I have for you all is All Your Twisted Secrets by Diana Urban. So this is a young adult thriller book. It basically follows these 6 students from the same high school who are invited to this scholarship dinner. They don't know for what they are getting the scholarship, but they are invited, so they all go. And a few minutes into the dinner, they realize that this is a trap, and their captor has planted a bomb in the room, and there is also a poison-filled syringe present with a note that in order to escape from that room, one of them have to die, and now it is upon these students who within an hour needs to decide who among them should die. So yes, as the premise sounded, it sounded so good to me. I picked this book up. I was looking for such great thriller here, and for sure there was a lot of tension between these 6 characters because all of them obviously did not want to die, and they had this huge task to decide who should die, and for that matter they all go back into their past and see what all mistakes did they do that they were in this situation. I was not a great fan of this book, but I think that most people will like this book. It gives a little bit of One of Us is Lying kind of vibes because it is high school set and everything of that sort, but One of Us is Lying was better. But still, if you like that book, you will also like All Your Twisted Secrets. Not guaranteeing it, but if you are also a beginner in thriller, you will like this book. There's a lot of tension going on around the book. That is great. But so the next book we have with us is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Tals. So it is a historical fiction set in Russia after the Bolshevik Revolution. So we principally follow our main character, Count Alexander Rostov. So he is an aristocrat, and after this revolution, all the aristocrats were being executed. But he is not executed, rather he is leniently punished because he was said to have written this poem which supported the worker class during this revolution. Thus he was sentenced only to a house arrest in this Metropole hotel, and we see Count Alexander Rostov living the rest of his life under house arrest in this hotel, in a small attic room in this hotel. And while he's undergoing this house arrest, the history of Russia is being rewritten in the outside world. So first things first, if you are the person who prefers sophisticated, classy, exquisite writing, this is the book, the perfect book. The person here is an aristocrat, so surely the writing is going to be a little gentlemanly, and also the title suggests A Gentleman in Moscow. So yes, the writing is of that kind. Also, if you like the things in the book to go a little slow so that you have your time with the things that's going around in the book, this is the perfect book. I think you'd like this book. Also, the writing it's filled with a little humor as well, a little hidden satire as well. I think people will like it. I kind of like this book, not on the highest scale of likeness, on the lower scale of likeness, but I positively did not love this book, but I think you might. So yes, that was the last book which I had to recommend to you. Those are the books that I didn't love that much, but I think you all can give it a try because you could love that. So yes, that was all for this video. Tell me in the comment section below if you want to have any more book recommendation video and what kind of book recommendation videos, so I can work upon it. And yes, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and please like, share, subscribe and comment. It helps me grow my channel. And yes, until next time.